I'm not sure I've ever watched a game of football and thought of Tottenham Football Club more than that game against Brighton. To be 2-0 up and then to lose 3-2 is pretty inexcusable. And I know before the Manchester United game there was a little bit of pressure on Ange, which I think is pretty unjust, to be honest. And I wonder if that's going to start to come back up again. I do hope not. These results happen. This is football. And Brighton are a fantastic team who have done things in a very good way. I have nothing but respect for Brighton. Let's talk about the game a little bit though, because it was a fantastic first half from Tottenham. They completely stopped Brighton in pretty much every way imaginable, and they got 2 goals. First one coming from Johnson, who has now had 6 in 6. You'll hear this stat a million times, but is the first player to do so since Harry Kane in 2019, which is massive for Spurs. They need a few different players who are going to get on the score sheet. Johnson is finally starting to prove his worth. What was he, about 50 mil? Just over 50 million, I think. A hell of a lot of money for a Nottingham Forest player who is exciting, but as I say, now it's looking like he might be worth that fee if he can continue this for the rest of the season or even anything close to this. It was a calm and collected finish from someone who is high on confidence at the minute. And then they get another. They go 2 up through James Maddison. Wasn't a particularly great shot. The Brighton keeper should 110% have saved it. And I also love the fact that despite it being a pretty poor shot and pretty much going through the keeper's hands, Maddison still goes, calls the cameraman over and does his little dart celebration, which now when you look back at the game, having thrown away that 2-0 lead, always just looks funny. But you got to respect the confidence. And Maddison has been having a much better season. I hope that he can continue without injuries, because I do think, well, could he be an asset for England? Probably not. Actually, we have too many players in his position that are just leaps and bounds above him. But the first half as a whole was all Tottenham. Brighton caused them no trouble at all. A shout out to Timo Werner, who for some reason keeps starting for Tottenham, and every time I see him play just looks like he doesn't have a clue what he's doing. Generally he can sprint, he can take the ball in relatively well sometimes, but as soon as it comes to actually getting a pass or a shot off, you just have no hope that Werner's going to do a good job of it. I don't know how he is still starting for a Premier League club. We saw it at Chelsea where for years, well not quite for years, but for a long time he was just horrible. And he's still starting. I get him being a bench player, maybe someone you can bring on for the last 15 minutes when another team's tired because of that pace and energy that he has. But to still have him starting, I think Spurs would do a lot better with a different attacking option out there. We go into half-time and then we come out and it's like 2 completely different teams arrive. Tottenham looked all over the place. Brighton were just fantastic from start to finish of that second half. Minter with the first goal, his first goal for Brighton, just a good goal. There isn't too much more to say about it. But at this point, I'm still thinking, all right, well, Tottenham were 3-0 up against Manchester United last week. Managed to stop them scoring for a whole half. Admittedly, it was with 10 men. But surely they can just hold on to this lead. Or even go up and get another. This was pretty quickly after the break, so surely they can just go grab another goal. But that is not what happened. Jorginho Rutter gets on the ball, great control and an absolutely fantastic finish. As a Leeds fan, I've seen a lot of Rutter, and that's the type of thing that he would do in the Championship last season, but not actually get it in the net. With the great control, keeps it inside the box, and then he'd usually just have a weak shot into the goalkeeper's hands. But that was a bit of class from him, and quite a high price tag, yes, but I expect him in the long run to definitely be worth that 40 million, I think it was 45 that Brighton paid for him. A fantastic player with a lot of skill on the ball, and he's one of those, he's quite a tall player, he's got a lot of strength, but he somehow manages to keep the ball in situations in which he shouldn't. He has the technical ability and that kind of tick-attacker play of a winger, but he isn't. He's an attacking mid or a striker, and I think Rutter is going to be a real asset for them. And he showed that again just a few minutes later when he gets the ball just outside the box, I think it was, and then manages to hold off 2 Spurs players, kind of takes a big touch to the byline, and I'm thinking, right, that's it. It's going out of play. Goal kick for Tottenham. But no, Rutter somehow makes it to it with a sliding cross, dinks it in the box for Danny Welbeck to head home. Unbelievable play from him. A goal and an assist. He got a goal in his last game. Brighton fans, if you're watching, let me know what you think of Rutter so far in the comments. I'm intrigued to know. It took him a while to kick on at Leeds, but it seems like he's doing that already at Brighton. And today was an unbelievable performance against a very good Spurs team, especially the defence there. A lot of pace, a lot of good players that'd make it into a lot of top 6 teams. And Welbeck with a goal. It feels like Danny Welbeck has been kicking around as a Premier League striker for my entire life. I swear to God. From the moment I started watching football, I swear I have seen Danny Welbeck just constantly. He is a reliable option though, and I think he'll continue to be. I don't think age will affect him that much. He is 33 now, so getting on a little bit. But another goal for him. His Premier League tally slowly ticking up. Well done to Brighton. That takes them 3-2 up, and then for the rest of the game they kind of just rode it out. I do want to give a shout out to Mitoma, who also had a fantastic game. Really exciting attacking play, and that was the theme throughout the second half for Brighton. That half-time team talk must have made a big difference, but yeah, Mitoma with some great play throughout the game, and this win sends Brighton 6th in the Premier League, above Spurs in European spots. I actually think that Brighton are the best run club in England. I made a video on this right at the start of the channel, probably over a year ago now, and I genuinely think the way that they do things is so good. They spent a little bit more money this season in comparison to other summers, but they bring in top talent at a young age and then manage to flip them every single time. And I am jealous as a Leeds United fan. I am jealous of what the Brighton ownership and the Brighton scouting team has been able to do year in, year out. Will it last forever? People have been saying that for a long time now, and it doesn't seem to be ending. But 6th in the Premier League for them, which doesn't really come as a surprise, which it's a strange statement within itself. If you'd have told me just a few years ago that Brighton are going to be regularly challenging for European football, I would have absolutely laughed you out the building. I'd have said there's no chance at all. But well done to them and their ownership. For Spurs, a really Spurs result. That's all I can really say. After a 3-0 win against Manchester United, I expected them to go and win this. And especially at 2-0, I thought, well, that's it. Game, set and match. And they somehow managed to mess that up. Some good attacking play from Spurs still. There's positives to take from the first half. If you are a Tottenham fan, let me know how you're feeling in the comments, because I think this season for Tottenham has been quite bipolar so far. There's a lot of positive moments, a lot of positives to take, but at the same time, it does kind of just seem like those old Tottenham habits keep creeping back in. Ange has had a fair bit of time now. I think he should probably be able to keep hold of a 2-0 victory at Brighton when you go in at half-time, 45 minutes left. As I say, I think the difference in team talks at half-time maybe says a lot. Brighton have got a young, exciting manager who's willing to put it all on the line and go out and attack as they did in the second half. But I suppose maybe the team talk for Tottenham was to defend, and that in itself could be the issue. Didn't go for the kill, decided to sit back, and Brighton have a team and an attacking line that can punish pretty much anyone in the Premier League on the given day. Also says a lot about Manchester United when they can get beat 3-0, not score a goal, and then Brighton can go and score 3 in a single half the next week. I did actually plan to make a video on Manchester United against Villa today, but that was one of the most boring games of football I have watched in a long time. So this thankfully saved my, what do they call it, Super Sunday. This saved my Super Sunday, actually made it relatively entertaining. But if you watch the game, if you're a Tottenham fan, if you're a Brighton fan, please do leave a comment. I read the comments. Please remember to hit like and hit subscribe. I will see you again very soon. Peace.